All right, everybody, welcome. Good afternoon, late afternoon. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss. It is Labor Day, September 4th, Monday, September 4th. And I want to jump on with you guys just to touch base on the first injury report of the week in terms of availability for key players going into fantasy football week one, which starts Thursday with the Detroit Lions taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe the line for the game is about 6.5, if I'm not mistaken. So I will have a selection for that game in terms of picking against the spread later in the week, maybe even Thursday itself. Also, still toying with the idea of doing a fantasy cast for the game as well. So, right off the top, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification and the like button so you're made aware when new streams like this are added. Which have been coming hot and heavy over the last week or so. And that's going to continue on into the season. There's going to be plenty to talk about once the games get going. You just know week one, there's going to be key players that go down. It happens every year. Hopefully it's not your players. And, it's funny. You go into the season with your rosters. Everybody generally feels good about the teams that they drafted. And you start to think to yourself, you're like, all right, which one of these guys am I going to see at the end of the season? Which guys are going to let me down and get injured or crap the bed, or for lack of a better term. But the possibilities are endless. We all have a chance to win our leagues, and that's what makes this part of the season exciting going into the season. And, the possibilities are endless. I mean, Thursday night, I have Amon-Ra St. Brown going in one of my leagues. I'm hoping for 10 catches for, 80 plus yards and a touchdown. So Travis Kelce owners want to get off to that good start this week as well. I believe the over-under for this game is the highest of any game this week. So, it should be a high-scoring affair. I think it's pretty much all hands on deck as well. There should be plenty of points in this one. Is Sam Laporta a good pickup? I think he is. I think he's a little bit overhyped right now. And listen, we all know about rookie tight ends. They generally just don't perform well fantasy-wise. So I think we need to temper expectations. That being said, this is actually a good matchup for Laporta because they have to throw the ball, the Lions, I think, to keep up with this Kansas City offense. And, Jameson Williams is out for the first 6 weeks due to his suspension. Amon-Ra St. Brown's probably going to get double covered. So somebody else has to step up and catch the football. And Sam Laporta was a really good receiver in college. So it kind of makes sense on the surface. That he would have some value in this game. We should start Washington defense this week over the Jets. I definitely would. The Washington can get after the quarterback, so I'm not. They have some pass rushers on that team, but if you can get the New Orleans Saints defense, whoever has it, try to trade for them because that's the defense I would ride this season. Kincaid or Musgrave, sleeper tight end. Kincaid, he's a wide receiver who's playing tight end. No other way to put it. Laporta should be a good sleeper. So we'll see what happens with that game. I know Kadarius Toney, limited participant today with his knee injury. He should play in the game. Richie James is going to be the punt and kick returner. I was really hoping Richie James was going to be the guy to kind of, grab the bull by the horns. It doesn't look like he's going to have that responsibility to start the season. So I was wrong about that one. It looks like it's going to be either Kadarius Toney or Sky Moore as the main targets at the wide receiver position, at least. And maybe down the line, we see Rashee Rice or, Justin Ross step up as well. We'll have to see. Can Garrett Wilson be a wide receiver one overall? I definitely think he could. I mean, listen, Devontae Adams, that kind of target, target hog role he had with the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers is absolutely within the realm of possibility for Garrett Wilson this season. I mean, there's really not much there for the Jets. Corey Davis retired. Tyler Conklin's just okay at tight end. Allen Lazard, we've seen Allen Lazard. He's really just like a glorified low-end wide receiver 3. He's a solid player, but he's not a game breaker by any means. Mecole Hardman, he's more of a gadget guy. So Garrett Wilson, I think, is just going to get a ton of work in this offense. And yes, that is, not likely, but it is within the realm of possibility for him being the wide receiver 1. You like Pacheco as running back 2. I'm not a Pacheco guy. I will admit, though, that he made good on his promise last season. There was a lot of hype last summer, and he generally came through. He caught a bunch of passes in the Super Bowl. I think it was 5. So maybe he does have more ability as a receiver that we haven't seen. Not the most durable guy, has a very hard charging upright running style that could lead to more injuries. So, and listen, the Chiefs, they throw the football around the red zone more than any team in the NFL. So the touchdown numbers may not be that impressive for Isaiah Pacheco, despite the offense that he's in. Ross is a good story. I agree. I think, it is something to root for sure. So news item of the day, George Kittle did not practice Monday. He's got a abductor strain that he suffered back in mid-August. So, this is just par for the course for George Kittle. The guy can never completely stay healthy. It's an annual problem for him. He misses games every year, and he's already hurt. I fade him every year for this reason. You could talk about the touchdowns last year, but that was an inflated outlier number for him. He never did approach that total previously. So there's a lot of also target competition with Brandon Ayuk, with Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield. It's going to be a lot of running plays in this offense. So Kittle was an easy fade for me this year. Wilson or D-Hop at flex. I like D-Hop at the flex this week. So Mark Andrews did not practice. Now it's undisclosed. He has now missed the last 6 practices, talking about Mark Andrews. So that, we have a couple of big tight end names that were not on the field today. John Harbaugh has been very coy about this. He has said that he does expect Andrews to be in there tomorrow. We just have to see. He did battle injuries last season as well. I thought he was overdrafted as a late second round pick, even in the 3rd round. I've said this many times. It was either Travis Kelce or wait until you get Darren Waller or wait until you get Pat Freiermuth. Those are the 3 tight ends I was really looking at this season. And, it's a little discouraging that Mark Andrews is already missing practices. Waller should easily go over 1,000 yards. I agree. And I think he's going to catch 90 passes if he stays healthy. So, the guy is just a ball of muscle and quick twitch, muscle, fibers in his legs and whatnot. So it does lead to injury for him. And we've seen it the last 2 years, talking about Darren Waller. But if he can stay on the field, they're designing this offense to target him heavily. He's the rare tight end other than Kelce. That's the number 1 target in his offense. TJ Hawkinson is not the number 1 target in his offense. Neither is Dallas Goedert. Neither is George Kittle. So, Waller is really the only other tight end among that top, the top 2 tiers, three tiers. That is the number 1 target in his offense. So, and I do think that the numbers are going to be spectacular. Jalen Waddle returned to practice with his midsection injury, whatever that was. Amon-Ra St. Brown, full participant with his ankle today. So that's good to see as well. So how about this with Joe Burrow? So Zach Taylor met with the media. He's still calling Burrow day-to-day with this calf strain. He stopped short of saying that Burrow will be ready week 1. Now, I think that's a little bit of coach speak. I think that Burrow will be there. But at least initially, I don't think we can expect to see a lot of running from Joe Burrow. It was encouraging to see him run again last season after he tore the ACL in his knee the year before. So if anything that he can contribute on the ground would be a nice bonus to his overall value. And he is still a locked in top 4 guy. He is the top guy after the big 3 of Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Pat Mahomes. There's no doubt about it. Someone offered me Waller and Elijah Moore for Christian Watson and Pat Freiermuth. I would definitely do that. I would do that trade for 100%, Chris. I really like Waller. I like Freiermuth too, but I like Waller a lot. And I do like Elijah Moore. And I think his numbers are going to be more impressive than people think. He was really good as a rookie when he was on the field for the Jets. Instant separation guy. They're going to use him on jet sweeps. They're going to use him out of the slot. Elijah Moore has a lot of appeal this season for me. Trade or hold on JT. You're going to have to hold him. You're not going to get anything for him. Nobody's going to offer you anything for him, so you're kind of stuck with him. Any other tight ends split out wide, not named Kelce and Waller? That's a huge advantage. They do put Njoku out wide in Cleveland once in a while, but I can't think of anybody else. Let me take a look. I don't think there's any other tight end that goes out wide. Kyle Pitts occasionally, but that's about it. Evan Engram does not. Hawkinson doesn't. Andrews operates in the slot. So no, I would say no to that. Watson upside isn't worth keeping. Listen, Watson has upside, but so does Elijah Moore. And Darren Waller could be the second tight end in production this season, like he was a couple of years ago behind Kelsey. Pat Freiermuth won't be able to do that. And again, Watson has a quarterback, a first-year starter. He runs hot and cold. He's very big play, touchdown dependent, Christian Watson. So I actually think that Moore, if he's healthy, will be in the same reception ballpark as Watson. Now, he's not going to have the splash plays. He's not going to have the touchdowns. But Freiermuth is not going to have the splash plays and touchdowns that Waller's going to have. And I'm not the biggest Watson guy, so I'm kind of the wrong person to ask about that. Listen, he has an injury history. There's no doubt about it. I'm not going to say he doesn't. And as a Giant fan, I'm a little bit, swayed from that part of it. But I think he's lined up for a monster season. He's the best player in that trade. So let me put it that way. He's the best player in that trade that you just talked about. I'm receiving Josh Allen, Cam Akers, Schultz, trading away Lamar Jackson, Dalvin Cook, Darren Waller. No. Allen is so durable. That's the only thing. Lamar Jackson is not. I love Darren Waller. No, I wouldn't do that trade because I like Cam Akers better than Dalvin Cook. And I think Breece Hall eventually is going to overtake him. So no, I would not do that trade. As much as I like Darren Waller, I would not do that trade. So I would pass on that one for sure. All right, so this was interesting today that the Detroit Lions, a couple of reports came out today about Jahmyr Gibbs and how he's going to be used in ways that people aren't anticipating. So we're already anticipating him catching a bunch of passes. We're already anticipating him working out of the slot. And we're already anticipating him getting, maybe 35, 40% of the carries. What we're not anticipating is goal line carries. So is this to hint that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get goal line carries? That's what I'm taking of this. So if that's the case, and I've been very hesitant to jump in on Jahmyr Gibbs as a third-round pick, which is where he is now. If that's the case and he gets consistent goal line work, then I'm fully on board. I mean, I really am. What this means for David Montgomery, I'm not sure. And that news bit has me, in the one league I own Montgomery, keeping him on the bench for the opener. I got to see what this setup is going to be like in terms of touches. And I think the same applies for the Jets with Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. I wouldn't start either one of them, maybe as a flex if you're desperate. Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine, same thing. I want to see where that ends up in terms of the touches. So if you have a viable flex or running back two, I would try to stay away from starting those guys. Just my take on that. Rooting for the Giants this year. And Daniel Jones, obviously you're talking to a Giants fan here. Who should I start at QB? Dak or Goff? I would Goff, 100%. Especially with the stack, I would do Goff. They have to throw the football. You sold on Tank Dell. I like Tank Dell a lot. When I did my fantasy football draft guide, I did a synopsis on him, and he is a big play slot guy who gains another one of these guys who gains instant separation. He's going to be a matchup nightmare for linebackers. So there is a route to fantasy status for Tank Dell this season. I would keep him on the monitor list if you're in a shallow or medium-sized league. In a deeper league, you want to own him. But I would definitely watch him early on. He's on my monitor list, talking about Tank Dell. Have Nico Collins on the bench. Yeah, either one. Nico Collins, too, is another one I'm watching. I mean, somebody's got to catch the football, right? I mean, they're going to be trailing in a majority of their games. So whether it's Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, somebody has to catch the ball from C.J. Stroud. Who'll be the offensive rookie of the year? It's got to be Bijan Robinson. Imagine getting Miles Sanders late seventh. Yeah, I mean, listen, Chris, those are good values. I'm not gonna say they're not. All right, so a news item: Cooper Kupp, Sean McVay will have more information on Wednesday. All right, so Wednesday, not tomorrow, Wednesday, about Cooper Kupp's hamstring injury. He saw a specialist. McVay did talk today about the fact that he was really hinting at multiple missed games. So this is a little bit more concerning now by the day. So I talked yesterday how I was hoping it would be. Now, I'm not an owner of Kupp, and I told you all not to own him this year, even before the injury. Initially, I was thinking, okay, maybe it's just one game. They're going to be cautious on him. But now, today, McVay seemed to hint that it's going to be more than one game, multiple weeks. So 2 to 3 weeks now, this is starting to be very concerning. So, whether it's Puka Nakau or Tyler Higbee, this is an ugly situation for the Rams offensively. And, as a Cam Akers owner in one of my leagues, it might be really tough sledding. They're just going to stack the box with Cooper Kupp out of there. And there's no reason to respect the pass. All right, none at all. So they're going to sell out to stop Cam Akers. So I'm concerned about that. But this is starting to be more concerning now with Cooper Kupp. The fact that they sent him to a specialist too leads me to believe that there's at least concern among the team, among the coaching staff, that there could be a serious injury there. Not saying that is what's going to be coming out of this, but at least the possibility is there. Should you drop our Shane Fidel? No, I wouldn't do that yet. No, not yet. Because again, Jeff Wilson is already on IR, and Raheem Mostert can't stay healthy. What do you rank Amon-Ra St. Brown? You ranked and grabbed him over Lamb. I took him over Lamb, 8th overall in my draft, Chris. I reached for Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's how much I like him. So we're just talking about Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp, 2021 Cooper Kupp, could be Amon-Ra St. Brown this year. If I had to pick one guy who would have a 2021 Cooper Kupp season with that insane amount of targets, I think it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's why I reached for him. I reached for him over A.J. Brown, who I wound up getting in the second round in that same league. Reached for him over CeeDee Lamb, and I have no regrets about it. I got some raised eyebrows when I made that pick, but you know what? I'm all in on this guy 100%. Streaming defense, Seahawks, a spot start. If Kupp misses, yes, 100%. I mean, Matt Stafford can't move. That offensive line is a joke. You stream anybody against the Rams until Cooper Kupp comes back. You can't start Miami against the Chargers. And, I said it yesterday about the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert has a chance to be QB1. I really do. There are so many offensive weapons on that team. He's healthy now this year. He dealt with the rib injury all last year. I think Justin Herbert it's within the realm of possibility for him that he'll finish QB1. Bijan Robinson, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does as well. That to me is one of the things I'm going to be looking for. So this one's kind of got by me a little bit. Mike Jones of The Athletic was talking about Dameon Pierce, said that they're going to be going with a platoon with him and Devin Singletary. So, I mean, shit, that's not what you want to hear if you're a Dameon Pierce owner. I mean, a platoon, I mean, that's not good. Pierce really handled pretty much every down snaps in the preseason. But it looks like they're going to be using Devin Singletary quite liberally. And I was afraid about this when they signed Devin Singletary because, listen, as boring as Devin Singletary has been with the Buffalo Bills, he's been pretty freaking productive. He's been averaging over 4 yards per carry pretty much every year of his career. He catches the football. He's good for 40-plus catches a year. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He doesn't score a lot of touchdowns, but, he's proven to be a solid player. Elijah Moore, week 1 start, not automatically. He'd be a flex play for me, not an automatic starter. But anyway, getting back to Dameon Pierce, this is not what you want to see, at least initially to begin the year, if that's what's going to happen. And Singletary, too, has been quite durable. So, do they go 50-50 split, 60-40? That's not the best situation, going forward for Dameon Pierce if this is what happens. Mahomes, running back Pierce, Gibbs, Pacheco, Dillon, Arshane, Terry McPickens. Yeah, I mean, it's a good team, Adam. You got to hope Kyle Pitts comes through this year finally, but your running backs are good. I mean, Pierce, I'm not going to, based on that one report, I'm not going to go crazy on that. Your tight ends, Pitts and Schultz, that's good. Yeah, I think it's a good team. I think he did well. St. Brown, number 1 when targeted in man coverage. Yes, and he missed out on a lot of touchdowns where he went down right before the goal line. Lock it over Evans and flex. Yes, I think so. I think you got to do that. Breece Hall, they're going to be very deliberate with him. And And that's one thing. And I'm from New York. I'm in New York doing this. I heard Robert Saleh on one of the local radio stations here talk openly about how they are going to bring Breece Hall along slowly. So I said around 10 touches, maybe. That's what he's probably looking at. So I'm a little hesitant to throw him out there, even as a flex. Thoughts on Keenan Allen? You're talking to like the biggest Keenan Allen lover in like history, and that's been me. That being said, Chris, I faded him this year. I don't typically invest in receivers that hit the age of 30 because that's when the trouble starts. As we're seeing right now with Cooper Kupp with the hamstring injury. Keenan Allen last year, constant hamstring injuries. So, when these receivers hit the age of 30, and I'm worried about Mike Evans as well, and Devontae Adams, maybe to a lesser extent, that's when the injuries start to crop up, for these wide receivers when they reach that age. So, as far as Keenan Allen, listen, he's going to get a lot of targets. His average depth per target has dropped. His rate of separation has dropped. All the numbers are going the wrong direction with him. And also, here's the thing, too. This is going to be a more downfield passing offense, all right? They brought in the Dallas OC to run the offense in Los Angeles, and this is going to be all about throwing the ball downfield, and that's why they drafted Quentin Johnston, guys. He was a big play wideout in college, contested ball guy, can go up and get it, great ups. I mean, that's why they brought in Quentin Johnston. So are they going to phase Keenan Allen out? No, they're not going to. He's going to remain a very important, impactful weapon for the Chargers out of the slot. But, I don't think we're looking at that 100 catch Keenan Allen season anymore. I don't see it anymore for him going forward. All right. So a couple of things. I wanted to talk about some like really late round, maybe free agent guys that could pay off, like diamonds in the rough this season, just continuing on the preview for the 2023 season. So I was looking at all the positions to try to come up with guys who, like I said, may not even be drafted, but could turn out to be, a potential league winner that'll cost you almost like next to nothing. So, at the quarterback position, to me, and I talked about this yesterday, Kenny Pickett and, Jordan Love and Sam Howell, all three of those guys, and especially if you're in a super flex league, all three of those guys have what we're looking for in terms of being able to run with the ball and also, passing it as well, obviously, being a quarterback. But, so I like Howell. If I were to rank those three guys, I like Howell more than Pickett and Jordan Love. But Jordan Love played really well this preseason. Kenny Pickett has played well this preseason. It's a really tough division, though, that he's in. But those three guys could, in a super flex league, really help, I think, at some point during the course of the season. Now, at running back, right off the bat, I mean, we have, the rookie backs, Tank Bigsby, Zach Charbonnet. That's why I put that poll up, which looks like Jaylen Warren is winning, which I kind of expected. He's like the first handcuff that people think about now, just because he was so good last year and he's looked good this preseason as well. But Bigsby, Charbonnet, all those guys on that poll, all of them could be league winning backs if they ascend to the starting lineup. I think Ty Chandler, same thing with Minnesota. I think he has league winning appeal. Devin Arshane, same thing with Miami. So in particular, Roscoe Johnson, a lot of these rookie running backs could have that as well. Those guys you really got to keep an eye on as well. Rank the Eagles backfield. The Eagles, Sweet Tea, the Eagles backfield has been a real puzzle for me this preseason. They really have. I think that I really thought it was going to be a Kenneth Gainwell and they were going to cut Rashad Penny. Now I don't know. Is it going to be Penny on first and second down? Gainwell to change the pace, DeAndre Swift, the third down back. And then you have Jalen Hurts there who's going to be, siphoning off touchdowns around the red zone. I think it's just one big mess. I'm not invested in any of these guys. Jalen Hurts I am, but not any of the running backs. Too many cooks in the kitchen for my taste. But if I think DeAndre Swift probably has the most fantasy potential out of them, followed by Gainwell and then Penny, because Penny can't ever stay healthy. So it's just a matter of time before he ends up injured again. How would you rate the team I drafted? Allen and Geno Smith, great quarterbacks. Barkley, Stevenson, Charbonnet, good running backs. I like those. CeeDee Lamb, Johnson, Lockett, Dotson, Elijah Moore. Hey, listen, that's a good team, Blair. I have no issue with any of those guys. I think you've been paying attention on the streams. Yeah, big head scratch of the Eagles. Absolutely. How am I feeling about Olave? I love him. I think he is a to-the-moon guy. He's going to go nuts. Wide receiver one this season for sure. He might even be a top 5 guy. I absolutely consider him a true monster in the making, Chris Olave. All right, now as far as wide receivers, Treylon Burks could graduate into a possible league win, although they don't throw it enough there. You have George Pickens, Nico Collins in Houston. That's somebody that could turn out to really be a big guy. Quentin Johnston. I think Mike Williams, Keenan Allen are going to get hurt at some point. And he's going to be a possible league winner. It's very tough to find league winning, wide receivers. They usually don't get those on the free. Rashee Rice. Usually you don't get league winning wideouts on the waiver wire like you do running backs. And then really the late round tight ends that I like. Don't sleep on Zach Ertz, who's back and healthy, although he might miss the first few games. Chikozia Makongwu, Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta, all those guys I think have really good value this season as well. All right, A.J. Brown or Amon-Ra. I like Amon-Ra more because he doesn't have as much. He doesn't have a Devontae Smith like an A.J. Brown does, or even a Dallas Goedert. You would rank Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith over the next wideout / tight end for the Detroit Lions. And it's funny you say that because I have both of them in one of my leagues. I took Amon-Ra in round 1. I took A.J. Brown in round 2. My wife's are Amon-Ra, Keenan Allen, London Dotson. Those are good wideouts. Running backs, Chubb, Sanders. I don't like those running backs. Not as much, I should say. And Freiermuth and Juwan Johnson. That's fine. With that context, do you still think I should do the Waller trade? Yeah, Chris. I mean, I'm just giving you my honest opinion, my knee-jerk reaction. I think you should do that trade. I do, because I think the upside. Freiermuth is a solid tight end, but he's not going to win you a week. Darren Waller can win you a game, each week or whatever. So I don't think Freiermuth is that kind of a player. Waller is. Now, Watson, sure, he can have those weeks too, but I think Elijah Moore, again, he was good as a rookie. People forget that because of the tumult that he dealt with the Jets last season. I think Elijah Moore is going to be used on jet sweeps, a lot of short tosses he's going to be creating after the catch. So I do like Elijah Moore as well. You're welcome, Blair, and I really appreciate that, guys. And yes, gotten a lot of new subscribers over the last couple of weeks, which is good. I mean, you listen, the offseason was slow. The channel gets slow in the offseason. I get it. A lot of people dropped off in the offseason, but they come back and then some. So I'm really appreciative of that. And like I said, I'm going to be trying to bring you guys everything you need this season. I'm going to have my first handcuff running back video either tomorrow or Wednesday, probably Wednesday. I'm going to do picks this season, start, sit with, the borderline guys. I'm going to do those videos later in the week. And of course, Sunday is the big day where instant injury analysis, have that notification bell hit, because I probably put up sometimes between 15 and 20 videos during the course of the games, mostly about injuries, a lot of times too, monster performances. And then of course I finish it up with the live stream Sunday night where we get a lot of people for that Sunday evening stream to share in the glory or the misery of winning or losing their week, plus going over the injuries, the fresh injury report that happened during the course of the games. And that's always a really good stream Sunday night. So make sure you're a subscriber. Hope everything's okay. Everything's well. Got my draft tonight. Got the 4th pick. Feeling strong about TK and then going after Mahomes. Listen, I mean, the 4th spot, it's either Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce for me. So, that's a good spot there. And then Mahomes round 2, I think he might be there. Appreciate the Vice Boss as a Giants fan. Just need some other opinion on Waller, making sure I don't know. Listen, I've been at camp this year, Chris. Nobody can guard Darren Waller. And nobody, listen, even when he was hurt the last couple of years, the games he played in, linebackers cannot stay with him. He is way too fast and too big for safeties and cornerbacks. He is a true mismatch across the board. Like, that's how good Darren Waller is. And remember, he was 90 plus catches 2 years in a row. I believe he went over 1,000 yards in both of those years. And, there was even some discussion that he should go ahead of Travis Kelce. That's how good he was. So, I think you got to do that deal. Am I still going to be doing a first half live stream? Yes. Yes, Blair. The Fantasy Cast is back this year. I started that halfway through last season. I'm going to do it this season as well. So if you want me to do it this Thursday, starting this Thursday, or start next Thursday, whatever you guys want, I'll do. No, I didn't discuss Jerry Jeudy, Charlie, but I will now. I don't think he's going on. I don't think he's going to be a month, 4 games missed for Jerry Jeudy. I think it's going to be a maybe just one or 2 games. I don't think he's playing week 1. I think they're going to be very conservative with him. And so Marvin Mims has a chance, a golden opportunity right away to kind of find his footing for with the Broncos. And I have him in one league just to see where this goes, because my God, they've had so many injuries in the wide receiver unit for Denver that, almost by default, Marvin Mims is somebody that we should be looking at. I do like Jeudy, but he always seems to leave you wanting a little bit more. Superflex team: Mahomes, Brown, Metcalf, Bijan Robinson, Mixon. I don't like Mixon. Ingram, a lot of target competition. Goff, Mike Williams, Kincaid, Jeudy. Hey, the bench is really good though. So sweet tea. This is a good team. I just don't like Joe Mixon, and I'm not a big Evan Ingram guy because I think there's going to be a lot of competition there. Dalvin Cook, Khalil Herbert, Zach Charbonnet, Tank Bigsby. Which one do I trade for Isaiah Pacheco? I would say Bigsby. Yeah, I would say Bigsby. I like Herbert and Charbonnet. I wouldn't trade those guys. It would either be Bigsby or Cook. I think Breece Hall, it's only a matter of time before Breece Hall literally runs with the Jets job. He was just too good last year. Do you think I should stick with Dak and Goff this season and go for a better QB? You could rotate them. You definitely could rotate them, Chris. Let me take a look at their playoff schedule. I know Dallas has Buffalo, which is a tough matchup. Miami and Detroit in the wild card, in the Super Bowl championship. And then Detroit has Denver, Minnesota, Dallas. So, and they visit Minnesota, so they'll be in a dome. I think, I think you could kind of rotate those guys, I guess. The only thing I don't like about that is neither one of those guys runs anymore. And that's the key to success now in fantasy football at the quarterback position, is you need to have those guys that run. You know what I mean? Joe Mixon figured, the workload's going to be there, but he's going to be boring as hell. He's going to average less than 4 yards per carry. It's going to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust for Joe Mixon. You hope he doesn't get any more trouble. The guy seems like he's a really big hothead. He can catch the football. So I get it, but, and he's 27. So I very firm on that. 27 and older running backs I avoid. Even 26, I tend to pause a little bit on them as well. There are exceptions like Aaron Jones, because he hasn't really been a bell cow back in his career, so there's more tread on his tires. And then receiver, it's the age of 30 that I'm a little more concerned about. How do you feel about David Njoku and Laporta? I like Njoku better than Laporta. Njoku was good on a per-game basis last year. He didn't really jive with Deshaun Watson, so we got to watch to see if that changes this year. But I do like Njoku. He's a freak of an athlete. Nico Collins or Elijah? I'm going to go Elijah. I want to see, if CJ Stroud, he's probably going to have the first game jitters. I do like him as a prospect. I like him more than Justin Fields as a passer coming out of Ohio State. Obviously, Justin Fields is a better athlete. CJ Stroud can move, though. He's not a statuesque passer. But I do like, I think that Elijah Moore, I'd rather have him in there because his quarterback is much more dependable than what we're going to see out of Houston. And Houston is going to be bad. It's going to be some really bad teams this year. Houston, the Arizona Cardinals are going to be horrendous. Washington, the Commanders. I think Ron Rivera could be in his last year coaching there. Although, like I said, I do have optimism. I do really like Sam Howell. I can't forget his junior year of college. It was really that good. He ran all over the place, 800 plus rushing yards. Not a lot of people realize how much he ran in college, and he threw the ball well. Javonte Williams graduated, Michael Carter graduated, Diami Brown graduated, his offensive line pretty much all graduated, and he came back, and it was just no help for him at all. He had a really bad season, and the rest is history as far as as far as his season went, talking about Sam Howell. Am I doing the fantasy cast Thursday, guys? What do you think? Or do we want to pick it up next week? I know the first game, a lot of people, I don't know how many people are going to be on a stream for the true season opener. I'm fine doing whatever anybody wants to do. I'm just looking at some news. That's why I keep looking down. Nothing there. Talking about Jeudy, he didn't practice today. Questionable for Sunday. That's all I have on that. Shane Steichen says a running back committee for Taylor out the first couple of weeks. Zach Moss progressing well. You don't want any of these guys, honestly. I mean, my God, you don't want any of these Colts running backs on your team. And that's why I don't understand. If the Colts offered Kareem Hunt a deal, why didn't he take it? Because something's not right. And Kareem Hunt, I got offers from 4 teams, but he's still not signed. And I have him sitting on my bench in one league. I just want to cut him. I don't even want to look at him anymore. But I don't want to cut him. And then there's a big injury week 1, and he's now front and center on some team. Javonte Williams or Jamal Williams for the first few weeks. That's hard. Man, I'm a sucker for Javonte Williams, but his injury was so serious, and Samaje Perine is there. I would have to say Jamal Williams, but Javonte catches the ball better. If it's a PPR league, I maybe will lean Javonte, but I will go Jamal in a standard. So I kept Kelsey this year. My 10-team league ended up drafting Andrews. Okay, so you got the double tight end. You have certainly really good trade bait. Watson, Aaron Jones, Pacheco, Kamara. Okay, that looks good at running back. Garrett Wilson, Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas. Your receivers drop off quickly after Allen. I would try to trade Mark Andrews. You could probably get a wide receiver, a top-end wide receiver 2, maybe low-end 1. Let me see. So Mark Andrews, I bet you for Mark Andrews, I would shoot for the moon. I would try CeeDee Lamb. See if you can get him for Mark Andrews. Maybe you have to throw in something. Oh, no, I got the guy for you. Never mind. Jalen Waddle. You could get Jalen Waddle, I think, for Mark Andrews or Devontae Smith. Try those 2 guys. All right, so try Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle for Mark Andrews. I think nobody could argue the validity of that trade in your league. So I think that's one that would work. McLaurin or Dotson? Oh, man. That's tough. I'd have to still say McLaurin. He's consistent. I mean, he gets his numbers every year. He's got his 5 touchdowns. He gets his 1,000 yards. Dotson to me is a little more hot and cold. Michael Thomas or OBJ, dart throws, lottery tickets. That's all they are. I'm more positive on Thomas than I am Odell, but neither I could stay healthy. I mean, I have Michael Thomas in the flex in one of my leagues. I admit I'm a sucker for him. It's really hard to forget, even for both guys, it's really hard to forget how good they were when they were in their, first few years in the league. I mean, Michael Thomas was just silly, those catch totals. I mean, it really was. It was unbelievable how good he was. And, listen, in the 3 games he played last year, he caught 3 touchdowns. He was pretty good again last year. So wait until after week 1 or send out this trade. Do it today. I would do the trade today. In case injuries or whatever kind of skew things. Because if A.J. Brown gets hurt, Devontae Smith all of a sudden is the guy. Jonathan Taylor worth a mid-round pick this year. Don't bother. I don't want anything to do with him. He burned me last year. Luckily, I actually won the league that I drafted him number 1 overall, and that was because of Travis Kelce. I don't want anything to do with him. And even before all this nonsense, guys, I was consistent. Stay away from Taylor. The 2 guys I said to stay away from the most back in May, when I got really going again with this, was Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor. How'd that turn out? All right. And this year, these receivers over 30, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, be very careful there. All right. These running backs that are getting up there in age, Joe Mixon, be careful there. Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, be careful there. I'm still of the belief that Christian McCaffrey is going to get, split a lot more work than people anticipate because they want to get him to the end of the season healthy. The 49ers aren't dumb. They know how often he's been hurt. They have Elijah Mitchell who's capable. I know he gets hurt a lot as well. But I really think that that's going to be a something to watch there. Teagan's for Garrett Wilson, a fair trade. No, you're not going to – you're going to have to kick in more. more than Higgins for Wilson because everybody wants Garrett Wilson this year, Joe. Should I start Montgomery or Mostert? I would start Mostert because he's going to get the lion's share of touches. Montgomery is going to split with Gibbs. So I would definitely go Mostert for sure. So, so yesterday, the Florida State LSU game, I don't know if anybody saw that, but man, Florida State looks really good. And I didn't even know that they did away with the stopping the clock after first down. So just like in baseball with the pitch clock, I think this is really good news for college football. And it was a really good week 1 for college football. There's this draft coming up is going to have maybe 5 quarterbacks drafted in the first round. This is a major, major quarterback draft with, obviously Caleb Williams at USC, the kid from North Carolina, Florida State quarterback, and Jaden Daniels LSU. There's going to be a lot of quarterbacks that are going to be going in round 1 next year. How do you feel about Giants this year? I don't think he's made much changes besides. They brought in Paris Campbell, which I thought was a good move. He's got draft pedigree. He was a second-round pick. I mean, injuries obviously have been the problem for him. I think they were the best coach team in the NFL last year, 100%. They were the best coach team in the NFL. They have, in my mind, one of the best defensive coordinators in Wink Martindale. I think the Giants are going to surprise people. I think Dallas is going to take a downturn. I do not trust Mike McCarthy one bit. The Eagles are great. They lost a lot of people, the Eagles. They lost a lot of prime players to free agency, but they got Jalen Carter in the draft. They did really well. It's a model franchise, the Eagles, and I hate to say it as a Giants fan. The Eagles have whooped up on the Giants year after year after year. It just drives me crazy. But the Eagles are good. They have a great front office. They know what they're doing. This team is stacked with young talent. I mean, it's going to be just like the Atlanta Braves in baseball. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to be on for a long time because they have a lot of stacked young talent. Thoughts on Paris Campbell? Who do you think is the wide receiver 1? I think Isaiah Hodgins, believe it or not, is wide receiver 1. He was really good. He caught a touchdown in 4 out of 5 games last year. Paris Campbell, I think, could be good. He just can't stay healthy. He's very athletic. Out of the slot, can he catch 60 passes? Maybe. That's about what I see him. Herbert or Lawrence? I had Herbert ranked above Lawrence this year. More shootouts, more trailing in games for Herbert than Lawrence this year because Lawrence has Houston and Indy in his division. Those 4 games, Jaguars could be winning big. They might dial back the passing attack in the second half of those games. But this is not to say that I don't love Trevor Lawrence. I think he's a tremendous player, really, really good young quarterback. He's on his way to being that top-tier guy we all thought he would be when he was coming out of Clemson. Sam Howell going to surprise people. Yes, Joe, yes. I'm with you on that one. I really like Sam Howell. I'll go down on the ship with that one. Now, the Commanders have a knack for fucking everything up. There's no doubt about it. So he has that going against him. But I do think Sam Howell is going to be, better than people are giving him credit for. I feel like they should use Wan'Dale Robinson more when he comes back. Yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson was good, and I championed him last year. Jalen Hyatt is a deep threat guy. He's going to have to learn a bigger route tree because he wasn't asked to do a lot of that in college. But I mean, just the fact that he torched Alabama, he was a big play guy, in college. So I think he's going to be a player, long term for the team. Josh Downs, I'm not interested. Not this season. I really don't want anything to do with that team, honestly. I just, there's certain teams I don't want anybody on the team. All right. The Indianapolis Colts, really, that's one team. I literally want nobody on that team, including the quarterback. What other teams that I don't want? Tampa Bay, I have Rashad White, so I shouldn't say that. Arizona Cardinals, James Conner still has value. Let's see. I mean, the Panthers and Miles Sanders, I guess I could, I kind of like Miles Sanders. I think that might be the only team. I would take Dameon Pierce of Houston. I really want nobody on Indy. Pittsburgh, I would take Deontay Johnson. The Rams, you know what? Cooper Kupp, I didn't want Cooper Kupp. I think the Rams, I know I have Akers, but that I was forced into that. I think the Rams are pretty close to a team that I just want nobody on. The Raiders, I want nobody on. I don't want Adams, and I don't want Josh Jacobs. I don't want anybody on that team. I do like Ramondre Stevenson on the Patriots. That nobody else though, and I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, Tennessee. I'm not a Hopkins guy, not anymore. So I think Tennessee is another team that I don't want anything to do with. But the Indianapolis Colts, to me, are the right at the head of the class of a team. I just want nobody from that team at all. Would you stash Eric Gray? I mean, they have Matt Breida too. I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't stash any of those guys. There's no handcuff on the Giants that I really like. So I'm not really one to, and I'm a Giants fan. There's nobody on the Giants, backing up Saquon Barkley. And that's the problem too when you draft Saquon Barkley, because there's just no obvious handcuff. If you draft Najee Harris, you have Jalen Moore in there. There's a bunch of, Seattle, if you have Kenneth Walker, another guy I don't like, you have Zach Charbonnet behind him. So, there's teams that have good players behind them that could really take the bull by the horns. New Orleans got a pretty deep stable of backs, with Jamal Williams, Kendry Miller, and Alvin Kamara. So, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I can't believe it. Tomorrow's already Tuesday. I can't believe the summer is over too. That's just crazy to me that the summer is actually over already. But you know what? I'm ready for it. Closing down my pool in a couple of weeks. I'm ready for the fall. I'm here in New York. So I also, tomorrow's my first day of work. Anybody that doesn't know, I teach and I coach high school football. I coach wide receivers, ironically. So, it's here we are. College football's already started. We got the NFL. Like I said, fantasy casts on Thursdays. Sunday is going to be like endless videos. So I'm trying to, I know there's a lot of fantasy channels out there, but I'm trying to make mine a little bit more unique compared to the others. If you guys have questions, you post it under the videos. I usually always answer within 24 hours because to me, nothing more frustrating when you go on Twitter and you ask a question, you don't get a response. A lot of these guys in the industry just don't, whether they don't have the time or they don't care, they don't answer questions. I always try to answer all the questions. I'm always supportive. I'm thankful for all the support. Somebody sent me a PayPal the other day for $50. Like that was really, really generous and never expected, always appreciated. So, I appreciate all the support that you guys give me. And like I said, I started the channel last summer. I had 10 subscribers after 1 week. And I'm like, this is going to take a while. Then all of a sudden it shot up. Thank you, Taysom Hill. The Taysom Hill videos really were the ones that kind of went viral quickly because he was such a unicorn at tight end last year. So, so I appreciate all the consistent feedback and the, 99.9% of the discussion has been good. You get the troll once in a while, it's try to ignore it and then just move on. But I'm always up for a debate as long as we keep it, respectful and whatnot. And I'm always willing to admit when I'm wrong. I was totally wrong about the Richie James thing. I really thought he was going to be more a factor. He still could be, but I'm I'll definitely always admit when I'm wrong. Will Bijan Robinson win the rushing title? It depends how much they give Algier and Cordell Patterson. I know that they do like Algier. And listen, Algier was good as a rookie. He really was. Patterson's still a unicorn guy for them because he can catch passes. He's the wide receiver playing running back. He wouldn't be my first choice. If Travis Etienne could stay healthy, I think he's probably got good odds. I don't know what his odds are. He could lead the league in rushing. Let me look at who else do I think could lead the league in rushing. It's a good question. Like guys with good odds, obviously Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey. Tony Pollard could lead the NFL in rushing yards. He could be a Josh Jacobs 2022 this year. Breece Hall was healthy. He definitely could, but I don't see it now. And Dameon Pierce, that news today, I got to take him out of the equation. I don't think Kenneth Walker is healthy enough. Yeah, Bijan Robinson has a shot. Nick Chubb absolutely could lead the NFL in rushing. Nick Chubb is kind of underappreciated. I know he doesn't catch a lot of passes, but he's over 5 yards per carry every year of his career. Like he's really freaking good. Once you like Chubb as much as you, good offensive. Yes, Chris, he's getting a little bit up there in age. That's the only thing with Chubb. Offensive line is great. I have no problem with him. I want him to catch more passes. I'm a PPR guy all the way. I've never owned him, believe it or not. I have never, ever owned Nick Chubb, not once. And I only play 2 teams a year, so they keep that in perspective. But and that's just because he doesn't catch passes. In a PPR league, I always want those well-rounded guys. And the fact of the matter is he's just not that guy. But he is a monster rusher, touchdown guy around the goal line for sure. But the problem with him is, and I think in fantasy points, see, this is where, let me look for, I want to see something here from last year. So last year, how will Juju do in New England? Juju is going to be, 70, 72, 73 catches, 800 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. Let me look at the points from last year at the running back position, because something popped out at me I wanted to talk on. Just give me 1 second. All right, running backs, taking players. All right, in a PPR league. All right, so fantasy points. Last year, in a PPR league, Nick Chubb, 283 points in a PPR league. All right, so he caught, what do you have? 27 catches, 239 yards, 1,500 yards rushing. Aaron Jones was at 254, and he only ran for 1,100 yards, but he caught 59 passes. All right, and, you would draft Nick Chubb at the beginning of the second round. You would draft Aaron Jones in like round 4 or 5 this year. So in a PPR league, that's the problem. And, even like Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette was pretty bad last year. But hold on. What did Leonard Fournette do last year? All right. I had it under all players. That's what I'm trying to do. Bear with me 1 second, guys. All right. So Nick Chubb last year, like I said, 283 fantasy points. Leonard Fournette, guys, who was complete dog shit last year, running the ball, 226 fantasy points. So, that's not a huge amount behind Nick Chubb. And look, all right, how about this? Even better. Jamal Williams, 229 fantasy points. He scored 17 touchdowns on the ground. Leonard Fournette, only 3 fewer fantasy points than Jamal Williams last year. So, it shows you that in a PPR league, those catches really add up in terms of the points. All right, let's see. I fell behind here. Should I stash Jeff Wilson? You could stash Wilson, I guess. I don't really love any of those guys. I really wouldn't go crazy. You don't want to own any Arizona Cardinals. Mostert, Hall, or Dotson. Mostert. Listen, Mostert's going to be the guy week 1. 100%. Someone just dropped Mike Evans. Wow. Oh, my God. Would you pick him up and try? Oh, yeah, of course. I don't care what the situation is. It's still Mike Evans. Quentin Johnson still has to fight through Josh Palmer, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams, and Austin Eckler and Gerald Everett. So, wow, they're dropping Mike Evans now, guys. Unbelievable. So, anyway. All right, so I think that's a good place to end it. Guys, almost been on here an hour. It's always a lot of fun. I will be back on tomorrow, so just check for the time. Make sure you have that notification button hit. So enjoy the rest of your night, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Labor Day.